Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? We have heard a lot of different experts, researchers, just talking about the different aspects of dementia. And there are a lot of different studies that are being talked about. And have you ever wondered who actually participates in these research study? And also, how to do that. If you have been asking those questions, this is what we're going to be talking about at this panel discussion. So in the next maybe 30, 40 minutes, we are going to have a little bit of a structured conversation with Brittany and Ian. We'll introduce them a little later. And we are going to talk a little bit about, some of the aspects of dementia research. What is dementia research, right? What types of dementia research are there? Can I be part of it? And what are the questions to ask if a study is actually a good fit for me? And also, we are going to hear, from both Brittany and Ian, their role in terms of managing and coordinating and the engagement in research in dementia. So we're going to. I'm the moderator, so I have to do the slides as well. So there we go. So my name is Chiu, and I am actually a research scientist based at Ontario Shores Centre for Mental Health Sciences. Anybody know where that is? No. So we are similar to CAMH in a way that our focus is on on mental health, and we are a hospital that's located east of Toronto in Whitby. We have very nice grounds there. It's right by the lake, and we have facilities for different units for geriatrics, for adult psychiatry, and also for geriatrics. So that's where I am located. And then we also have our panelists, Ian Goldman and Brittany Prokop. Here they are. So I'm going to let Ian and Brittany introduce themselves briefly. Maybe we can start with Ian. Yeah.
Hello. There you are. It's an English accent, so get used to it. I'm going to be talking more slowly than some of the people have done this morning. And judging by the number of caregivers here, I think that's going to be a good thing. I myself was a caregiver to my mum in the north of England over her 8-year journey with dementia. I'm her only kid, and living here in Canada, I'm proud to tell you and happy to tell you that it was possible to do that distance caregiving over using the internet, of course going over there once a year and having a couple of really good supports, which I'm sure all of you involved in caregiving know is very, very important to your loved one, but also to yourself. And my wife is here today, and she was, of course, one of my supporters. During that time, I thought it was important to learn as much as possible about dementia, so I became involved with the Alzheimer's Society in Toronto. And for those of you that don't know, they are an outstanding organization and a great deal of help to educating, providing peer support to caregivers and to their loved ones. As I learned more, I was able to understand more about what was going on with Mum. The other thing that helped is that I'm actually an engineer by background. So all these new developments with therapies, with devices, apps, tools, methods that have been coming out for the last 10, 15 years, I started to get very involved in, and my wife actually spotted an ad to participate in learning about these devices through Baycrest. Baycrest actually has a center for innovation in aging and brain health. It's called CABHI, and I was one of the starting members there. Alison heads that up, amongst several other things. She's gone.
No, she's still here.
Okay, I was going to talk about her, but now I can't. So my participation in CABHI has also given me a great deal of information. Accordingly, I have been participating in research activities for about 6 or 7 years, and I'm going to tell you some of the good stuff, and I'm not going to be shy about telling you about some of the wrinkles as well.
Thank you, Ian. Brittany?
My name is Brittany. Some of you may know me. I'm a research coordinator with the Toronto Dementia Research Alliance. My role mainly involves connecting people who are interested in participating in research with research studies happening in our network. So our network being the 6 hospitals that we're exhibiting outside. We have a website that I'll go into later, but this is my main role. Professionally speaking, I have a Master's of Science degree from the University of Alberta, where I studied stroke, and I also spent a couple years over in Scotland studying autism spectrum disorders and intellectual disabilities before moving to Toronto. And on a more personal note, I love to cook. Me and my husband really like to try different types of produce and find good spots. So if you know any good farmers markets, please let me know, because I'm still relatively new to Toronto. And we try to travel when we can as well. Personally speaking as well, with the Dementia Connection, we are currently trying to get a family member assessed to see if they have dementia possibly. So this is the start of my potential caregiving journey personally. We'll see how that goes.
Thank you, Brittany. So as you can see, like we all wear different hats. Professionally, we can be doing things that are related to dementia research. We also bring in a lot of lived experience, maybe, as a caregiver or with, someone living with dementia. And so, very quickly, who I am. I also wear a lot of different hats. So together with my dad, I'm actually a long-distance caregiver for my grandmother, who resides in a long-term care facility in Hong Kong, quite far away. And I provide support to my father as he navigates the different aspects of caregiving, and I also act as a sounding board for him as he has to make decisions. Professionally, I'm a research scientist based at Ontario Shores, and I lead research initiatives aimed at co-designing. Meaning, I work with different knowledge users, caregivers, community representatives to build different programs and innovations to support a caregiver. And then I find a lot of joy in being an educator and mentor as well for students from different disciplines, and ranging from social work to psychology to computer engineering and science. There are a lot of just next slide. A lot of you contributed to those writing on the post-its on the dementia research is. These are not actual answers, but like as I was preparing for this slide, I put a little bit of examples of what dementia research really is. From your perspective, from the participants' perspective. And I'm going to read, some of, if that's okay, to read some of the responses. So dementia research is investing in your future, is community and partnership. It is very important for progress. It's very necessary. And it's needed in areas such as Lewy body dementia. Dementia research is intergenerational, and it should involve patient, caregiver, friends, etc. Dementia research is exciting, but it is slow on knowledge translation and implementation. Dementia research is a significant part of recovery and should include caregiver mental wellness. Dementia research is not widely available or accessible. And then the last one I'm going to read is, it is often the subject of stigma. So hearing all of these, I'm just going to post it to Ian and Brittany. What do you resonate with when you're hearing those responses, and what may surprise you?
So I actually took those down and I took a sneak peek at lunchtime there, and some of those were really, really interesting to me. Specifically, the one about research not being accessible or widely available. People don't know about it. They don't know where to look for information because this is my job. I connect people who are interested with research to studies, but what I'm currently trying to really push is spreading the awareness of our research tool. So this is one of the reasons that we are hosting this, is to let you all know about our research tool, where we list studies and you can browse at your own pace and then express interest, be connected with the research team directly. The other one I thought was really interesting. I think the caregiver mental wellness, because lots of people don't realize that we have studies for healthy volunteers. We have studies for caregivers where our researchers are studying caregivers specifically, or the caregiver person living with dementia relationship. So those are the ones I definitely resonate with.
Great. And Ian?
So hold it right there.
Use your mic, Ian.
In your blue brochures, your blue folders, there are 2 brochures on the inside, and one of them actually speaks to the tool that Brittany is talking about. It's called the
Toronto Dementia Network website. Thank you for saying that, because it was in my notes to say it and I forgot. So yes, it's the more green brochure. The dark blue one is the Toronto Dementia Research Alliance in general, but the Toronto Dementia Network one is the more green kind of one. Sorry for red-green colorblind, but.
Yeah, Brittany is going to talk a little bit more about the Toronto Dementia Network, near the end of our discussion here. But Ian, did any of those responses resonate, surprises you?
Several. Mm-hmm. And didn't they really cover a wide range from the optimistic beacon of hope, which we're all hoping for as for our loved ones or for ourselves, to the other side? I love the statement about stigma because we know the image of dementia and Alzheimer's just a generation ago was one of fear. How do I speak to people living with dementia? Those poor caregivers, how are they managing? Nowadays, that stigma is starting to reduce. It's becoming much more comfortable to talk about these things. Intergenerational, I heard that. And yeah, we are seeing people the age of Brittany finding themselves, and younger, not that she's old, young people in their 20s becoming involved as caregivers to people who are perhaps in their early 50s who are developing young onset dementia. Yeah, it's becoming an intergenerational situation. And finally, before I get to the best one, caregiver mental health. I know personally, and I'm happy to talk to anybody that's got questions, how demanding caregiving is. And if we can't be at our best, how can we help our loved ones? So if you come away from this as a caregiver with anything, it's look after yourself. Watch out for yourselves. The one that resonates strongly is a beacon of hope. When 20 or 30 years ago you had a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia, it was not a great prospect. But these days, with some of the treatments that you've heard about this morning, some of the devices that we haven't had a chance to show you today, but take a look. We'll give you some resources where you can take a look at some of the things that are being tested and tried, which I've had the chance of giving feedback to. There are some wonderful smartphone-based apps, things that you can wear on your body, things that can be put into the home. We talked about sundowning this morning, so light improvement, some marvelous innovations. There is a competition worldwide at the moment called the Longitude Prize in Dementia. It's going to be worth $2 million to the organization that can come up with a new tool that will follow an individual's path through their journey in dementia, and it will adapt to them as their journey changes, as the symptoms change. The prize will be announced in 2025, but there are 23 semi-finalists right now from about 10 countries around the world. I'm actually lucky to be on part of the panel involved in that project. If that isn't a beacon of hope, then what is?
Thank you. That was a very sort of like important message right there. It's, like this morning, I remember Dr. David Tang Wei was saying, if, you have been diagnosed with dementia, that's not you continue to live life. And there are so many different innovations and technology that is, and programs that are actually supporting how you can continue with a good quality of life when you're living with a condition. So that's that's a very good sort of opening to our sort of understanding of what dementia research is, and just some information about the different the main types of dementia research as we're talking about, and you heard this morning there are different types of research, but I'm just going to say there. It can fall in two categories. One is more of the observational study side of things. So these are not interventional studies. So you're not assigned to an intervention group, and you may be, if you are participants in these kind of studies, you may be observed over a period of time. Let's say if you exercise, and so people would the researchers will look and follow you for a period of time. time to see if the level of exercises is going to be associated or can explain the risk of being diagnosed with dementia, something like that. So observational study, and then there are clinical trials where researchers will actually assign participants to different interventions. So it can be behavioral interventions, it can be surgical, it can be innovation that Ian is talking about, and testing the effectiveness of these different interventions. And there are different types of clinical studies, and I'm just for the time being, I'm just going to show you the two non-drug and also drug sort of clinical studies. So as I was saying, there is going to be the behavioral and lifestyle intervention, and then the some of the clinical studies may involve the more sciencey things, the looking into the makeup of the amyloid and in the brain and circadian rhythm, so like looking at sleep patterns, etc., etc. So there are different. The reason why I put these types, up, is to show you that there are so many different kinds of studies, and Brittany is going to talk a little bit more about it, and how they're being organized within the Toronto Dementia Network. Okay. No. And I'm going to wrap this section up by saying it is very important, for us to consider participating in dementia research, and people usually participate in research because they want to contribute to discovering information that may be, helpful for others in the future. Some people, they are motivated because they want to play a more active role in their own health, and learning more about, what they can do to improve their wellness. And then there are also, different treatments that they have tried for their health problem and may not work, and so they wanted to try different things. And in any case, we are all partners in scientific discovery as we participate in research. So what would support research participation? And we have heard from some of you. Some of you may have completed a survey to help us understand, what actually will help or facilitate your participation. And there are different reasons, and I think I'm going to point out the top three. If you have a lived experience of dementia, either as a caregiver or someone living with dementia, you would want to kind of contribute to the knowledge creation. And people are also saying, compensation to participate in the study would also facilitate opportunity to participate in webinars, and learning about the results of the study is going to help. And then using the study results to influence your lifestyle changes and things like that will also help. I'm going to go to the barrier before I go to our panelists. So there are close to half of you saying that if I don't know what is involved or what is the ask, that is a big barrier. Does that resonate with a lot of you? Yes? No? Okay. All right. So I am going to start maybe by asking Brittany, what are some of the things that TDN and TDRA have put into place to help address some of these facilitators and barriers that our audience is telling us?
Yeah, so having lived experience is one thing. I mean, yes, you have a personal level of motivation at that point, but we do have studies for healthy volunteers as well, and we get people signing up who are, they just turned 19 or something, and they're like, well, I don't have dementia, but I'd be interested in learning more. And we do have studies for all adults 18 and up, including healthy volunteers. Compensation to participate in a study. So this is important to a lot of people, as you're dedicating your time, you're dedicating your experience, essentially. So this is study specific. Each study will have a different method to compensate depending on what they are asking you to do, how involved it is. Many of them will have compensation in the form of taxi chits, for example, like to help with transportation. So that was one of the barriers, I think. Taxi chits, TTC tickets, sometimes they'll reimburse you on mileage, and gift cards, different forms. So that's very study specific, and you can always ask me or the study team for those details before you decide if you actually want to sign up for the study. This is a normal thing to ask. It's completely valid. And then for the opportunity to participate in webinars or workshops to learn about study results. So we have a number of knowledge translation products. We partner with the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto to host webinars about these studies so that you can learn more. And we also have a monthly newsletter where we will describe a new finding, a new study in the field in that newsletter. And we also have blog series that also talk about the research that's happening in our network as well. So there are some resources out there to help introduce these items about learning about what the results are. In terms of the discouraging items, I already talked about transportation, but what is unclear about what is involved or what is the ask? And again, that goes back to our TDN, Toronto Dementia Network recruitment site. We post all of those studies in plain language. We review them, the researchers send them to us, and we will edit them and tell them to change it because they're talking about biomarker, like very specific biomarkers, like people don't need to know the specific biomarkers at the point where they're just inquiring. So we try to put it in plain language as possible so that you can understand when you're browsing yourself for those studies. We also outline what the time involvement is, what they are actually going to ask you to do if there's an MRI involved, if there's a blood draw involved. That will all be listed there. And if you're not sure, my email is associated with that website. My phone number is associated with the website. You can call and ask or email and ask. That's for me.
Great, and let's hear from Ian. We do have, the practical things that you can do, and Brittany is always here to answer any of your questions. But Ian, tell us your journey in terms of being, engaged in research. How did you, you alluded to it a little bit when you were introducing yourself, but can you, I know there are a couple of things that really motivated you in participating in research, dementia research. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
As well as my own personal connection with caregiving with my mum, other people I've worked with on research, they are motivated by, they're going to make a difference. They are participating not just to be like a guinea pig, but they want to make a difference. They're going to offer knowledge and experience that they've got that these bright younger people have not heard about. And the bright people may come with tremendous ideas about a new drug or a new app, but they haven't lived the life of someone with dementia or their caregiver. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more rewarding than when you tell them about a situation, an instance, and they say, oh, we didn't know about that, or we're going to have to rethink based on what you've said. Then you know you've left some footprints in the sand. The other thing is that working with bright people of a younger generation is very stimulating. And if you are moving towards retirement, even if you are working full-time as a caregiver, and it's a full-time job, you can get some joy and refreshment of working with these folks, and most of them are very caring. All of them are very caring about their work, but they're very caring about the people that they're participating with. You don't end up like a guinea pig, where you're just being offered a medication. You are involved in the actual study. You can help them think through their results, planning their next steps, helping them to think about additional services such as transportation, or some of these folks are hearing impaired. They'd like to have closed captioning, if you could do that. Joe, did you know Joe really likes a cup of tea at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Can we provide that for him? I'm going to take a walk and see if I can get some cues. Okay, so we've talked about how I got engaged. All of those things I've just mentioned to you enticed me into this world. Do you want me to talk about my impact so far, or have you got some other
I
things?
think you mentioned your involvement in developing like a participation guidelines for both person living with dementia and caregivers, and also for the research teams in terms of supporting the engagement. As a researcher, I'm always curious to hear, what can we do to better support research participation? So maybe you can comment on that a little bit.
One word: ask. Ask. And Brittany will give you some initial answers to the question, what is this study about? What's it going to involve? But then you'll start to meet the research team. Ask all the time. There should be a document at the outset called Terms of Engagement. Get a chance of looking at that, and if there's any term, any technical expression on there that you're not sure about, keep on asking. You're going to learn something, it's going to help you down the road, and you may stimulate them to say, oh, we should be explaining that better.
For sure. That's actually one of the things that we had a conversation when we were lining up for lunch, and I was inviting Ian, if he would be interested in, joining us on, an advisory committee, and the first thing that he asked is the term of reference, and I'm going to be providing that for him for sure.
That's right.
Yep. So, okay, so we are going to just go into the last section here. It's, after hearing, all of that, you may be interested. So what's next? I'm going to let Brittany talk a little bit about the Dementia Network, Toronto Dementia Network, and how it works.
Thank you. So one thing I did want to add, I realized with the transportation limitation, I forgot to say that we do have studies that you can participate at home. You can the researcher will go to your home and visit you there, or we also have virtual ones. So getting into this though, I have notes to make sure I take you through this in detail and I don't miss a vital part of the process, so that you are all aware of exactly how to access this. So again, this was created in partnership with the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto.
Will they get the slides?
And if you're asking if you'll get the slides from today, we are recording the event. We will post it afterwards, and we also have some documents for key takeaway messages as well. These slides specifically are also always shown at the beginning of our webinars that we host in partnership with the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto. I'll tell you about our next webinar at the end of this, where this is also on our YouTube, and you can always access this information, or email or call me as well. So this is the webpage link It's also in your brochures. This is a website where you can browse studies at your own pace. There are studies for people living with dementia, mild cognitive impairment, those at risk of developing dementia, and healthy volunteers as well as caregivers. To get started, the website link can be found in your brochures or on this slide. On the website, next slide please. On the website, there are two main pathways. First, you can browse for a study using search terms, filters, or quick searches. When you find a study you're interested in, you can fill out the contact form to be connected with the research team who will enroll you in the study if you are eligible or answer other questions. Or at the bottom, if you're not sure where to start, you can fill out a questionnaire to be matched to a study, and any information you enter will be securely stored and protected. Next slide, please. So this is what the website looks like. When you're on the page, if you're looking for something specific, for example, Alzheimer's disease studies, you can type it into the search bar along the top. You can either hit submit with that term, or you can apply more filters like the type of study, the age group, the target population, or the study location, and then hit submit. Alternatively, you can also use the quick search buttons that we have in the blue boxes. If you'd rather fill out a questionnaire to be matched to a study, you can click the Match Me to a Study quick search box or scroll to the bottom of the page, and you'll see the orange button that says Can't Find a Study You're Interested in, which will also take you to the questionnaire. Each study summary, as shown on the left here for the VR Sim Cares study, describes what the study is about, who can participate, the location, and the time requirement. Again, all in plain language. Next slide. So to help promote this recruitment site, we host webinars with the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto, where researchers discuss a study on the site, and viewers have the opportunity to interact with the researcher and ask questions. Please note, they're not just talking about the study, they talk about a general topic to do with dementia as well, and then they'll talk about the study that relates to that topic. So our next one is on May 21st at 2 p.m. And Dr. Mario Macelis will be speaking about how genetics relate to Alzheimer's and other dementias. If you want to register, the link is on this slide. You can also find it on our website, which is in your registration materials. So the TDRA website, on the events tab, you'll find it there and you can register. And then next slide. Perfect. So this is a slide showing you how you can connect with us. You'll see it again in the closing remarks, but the left side of the page is how you can contact me specifically, our TDRA general email, the TDN website, and that phone number is the research phone. So that goes to whoever is monitoring the research studies page. So if you have any questions, call. If I don't answer, leave a message. I will call you back. And that is going to be the key takeaways. That are people going to be getting the key takeaways? Yes. Okay. Just to go very, very briefly over it, as potential participants, if you are interested in any of the study that is on TDN, don't be shy to ask. There are different types of studies that may benefit from your input and participation. You're, engaging in co-design and as a partner in a scientific discovery. I'm going to say. Leave the last word to Ian, actually. So there may be people who may be interested in participating. As an expert, what can you say to them?
I would like to actually ask if there's time for any questions about anything we've said. Do we have a few moments? Okay. Any questions? Do we blow
Any
on
questions?
what?
Don't be shy to ask. Alison.
Please state your name before you.
Ian, what's your favorite experiment that you've ever been in, and why?
Too many.
Well, that's right. There's good technology, Alison, and there's soft spots. Okay, I'm going to give you 3. It's got to be 3. Soft spot. An innovator of a new program came to us. The program is aimed at promoting, so this is a program, this is not technology, promoting social connection between young people and older adults to improve social isolation. And of course, the pandemic really brought this to the fore. And this young person from the University of Alberta had come up with a concept called Sunshine Connected, by which they would match candidate older adults with candidate young people for trading information, exchanging knowledge. I took part in the pilot of this, exchanging my knowledge of travel in certain countries with her knowledge of a piece of software that would be really, really useful to my personal life. So we met 3 times over Zoom. She's in Alberta, I'm here, and they were structured. We were matched extremely well from interests that overlapped. The 3 sessions were beautifully structured by the organizers, and this program is now going on. We piloted it. It's now with the feedback that we gave, it's now going on to be rolled out across Canada. There you go. We made a mark. The one I'm most proud of is working with the new memory program for residential care at a very well-known location in Toronto. They want to build memory care for people living with memory problems it's not an institutional setting, but they're in a protected community. They want it to be person-centered care. Each individual has their own care program to Mosaic? Yeah, thank you. Which aims not to focus on their disabilities, but on their possibilities. It's called the Possibilities Program. They called for people who have lived experience with a loved one, and they showed us, 3 of us, different ages, different situations of caregiving. They showed us how they were proposing to design this care document for our loved one, which would be the basis of their care and which would change as the person's journey with memory changed. This program has been adopted here in Canada. It is being prototyped in Thailand. It could be a global program, the Memories Possibility Program. I think I'll stop there.
Thank you, Ian. I hope that, what we presented and talked about today inspires you and motivates you to find out more about how you can engage in dementia research. And I thank you for Ian and Brittany for your input and wisdom. And I thank you all for your time.